Have you ever stopped to consider how close the line is between brilliance and madness? It might surprise you to learn that nearly 1 in 5 adults in the United States experiences some form of mental health challenge every year. This number alone is staggering. But beyond the statistics lies a far more profound and intriguing question. Could it be that what we so often label as madness is, in some mysterious and misunderstood way, deeply connected to the highest forms of creative genius? Today, I invite you to join me on a journey, a thoughtful, reflective exploration into one of the most fascinating intersections of the human condition. The curious, sometimes tragic, but often inspiring relationship between madness and genius. We're diving into a world where chaos doesn't merely threaten creativity, but may in fact become its very source, its spark, its raw and untamed fuel. Throughout the tapestry of human history, countless brilliant minds have been haunted by inner storms. Vincent van Gogh, Virginia Woolf, Sylvia Plath, and even Albert Einstein, each of them stands as a towering figure in their field. Yet behind the fame, behind the masterpieces in revolutionary ideas, there often lurked an undercurrent of psychological struggle, emotional intensity, and deep vulnerability. Why is this pattern so recurring, so unmistakable? Could it be that there is something about the restless mind, the sensitive soul, the person who sees and feels too much, that leads not only to suffering, but also to sublime creative insight? To unravel this mystery, we must first ask ourselves, how does society define madness? For centuries, mental illness has carried a heavy burden of stigma. It has been misunderstood, feared, and hidden in the shadows. Madness has too often been seen as a defect, a deviation from the norm, something shameful, something to be fixed or concealed. But what if we flipped that narrative? What if instead of viewing madness purely as dysfunction, we began to see it as a different way of experiencing reality? One that, while undeniably difficult, can offer unique access to emotional and intellectual truths most others cannot reach. Modern research adds weight to this idea. Time and time again, studies have shown that individuals who suffer from mood disorders, depression, anxiety, or bipolar disorder often exhibit remarkably heightened creative abilities. But why is this the case? What is it about these conditions that can unleash such powerful artistic or intellectual expression? To answer that, let's look more closely at a few compelling examples. Take Vincent van Gogh, a painter whose legacy needs no introduction. His life was marked by instability, delusions, and emotional pain, but also by an extraordinary ability to capture beauty, light, and movement on canvas in a way no one had before. His painting Starry Night is not just art, it's an emotional landscape, a visual diary of the turmoil and wonder that lived inside him. Without his pain, would that masterpiece exist? Could it? Or think of John Keats, one of the most beloved poets of the Romantic era. Though plagued with depression and illness for much of his brief life, Keats poured that sorrow into words of such exquisite tenderness that they still move us today. His poetry reveals an intimate conversation between suffering and beauty, a lyrical negotiation between despair and transcendence. And then there is Sylvia Plath, whose name has become almost synonymous
with the idea of the tortured artist. Her poem, Lady Lazarus, offers an unflinching, raw, and painfully honest glimpse into her inner world. Makes her work so unforgettable is not just the pain, but the power she drew from it, the fire in her voice, the sharpness of her language, the courage of her vulnerability. Through her madness, she did not merely survive, she created something immortal. Psychologists have long theorized about this connection. One prevailing idea is that the intense emotional experiences, so common among those with mental health struggles, can open the door to extraordinary insight. These individuals often feel more, see more, question more. Their sensitivity can be overwhelming, but it can also allow them to access emotional truths that others miss and to express those truths in ways that are deeply resonant. Of course, it's important to clarify. Madness is not a requirement for genius. Creativity can be born of joy, of curiosity, of wonder. The human imagination is vast and multifaceted, and genius wears many faces. But perhaps what this exploration teaches us most is that creativity thrives on depth, and depth often comes from having walked through darkness as well as light. So, what does all of this mean for us here today? It means we should think more compassionately, more openly about mental health. We should stop seeing those who struggle as broken and instead begin to value the depth and complexity of their experiences. We should celebrate the incredible contributions they make to art, to science, to philosophy, to the very fabric of our shared humanity. And maybe, just maybe, we should start to embrace our own complexities too, the parts of ourselves that feel too much, the days when we feel out of step with the world. These aren't necessarily signs of weakness. They might be gateways to something deeper, something meaningful, even beautiful. So now I turn to you. What do you think about this connection between madness and genius? Do you see creativity as something that emerges from struggle or from somewhere else entirely? Have you ever experienced this in your own life or seen it in someone you love? Let's start a conversation. Share your reflections in the comments below. And if you found this exploration meaningful, don't forget to subscribe for more deep dives into the mysteries of the human experience. Until then, stay curious, embrace your full self, and never stop creating.